Welcome to Heavy Talk. I'm your girl, Heavy. I am back with another episode of Heavy Talk, here to serve up some more straight talk with no chaser. As always, we have quite a bit to get into on today's episode. But first, I want to give you your inspiration of the day, your word of the day. Today's word is pivot. Pivoting is an essential aspect of life. Know when it's time to pivot. That's really what this episode is all about. In quite a few areas of life, I'm seeing some pivoting that needs to happen, especially with those people that just got laid off from ESPN. We'll be getting into that. But first, I want to start this episode by giving you a couple of Heavy Talk Media updates that you need to know about. First, starting with the podcast, you can now listen to the Heavy Talk podcast on iHeartRadio. So in addition to all the other streaming platforms, check out Heavy Talk podcast on iHeart. And you can also watch full episodes of Heavy Talk on YouTube. I didn't say listen, I said watch. You can now watch the podcast. Go check it out. Next up, I want to talk about the Black Business Scholarship. On past episodes, I took you through the process on how to nominate and what it was all about. So a new scholarship cycle has now opened. You can now go nominate your favorite Black business. I know that you got a Black business that you love. Go nominate them, please. They would greatly appreciate it. Last up, August is National Black Business Month. The brands, the Black Blog, and Heavy Talk Media are hosting our second National Black Business Month series. So if you're a Black business owner and you want to share your story, shout out your own business, sign up for the series by July 17th. To learn more about all of these Heavy Talk Media updates, please head to HeavieTalkMedia.com. Now let's get into the episode. We're going to be talking about sports a lot this episode because a lot has been going on with free agency and the media layoffs. So first, let's start with the free agency and Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. Now, y'all was making jokes on the TL every time a new ESPN alert came up or a new tweet from Woj popped through. Y'all was cracking jokes that it said, Rich Paul, CEO of Clutch Sports. And then once the deal started falling through, y'all said, okay, it was deserving. It is needed to be said that he is the CEO. He's the one that's doing big things, because it is being reported that during this free agency, he's negotiated over $100 million in deals across 3 clients, $100 million ONG. Let's go through some of these deals. He helped Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green sign a 4-year deal worth $100 million. Not just that, Fred VanVleet he helped him sign a 3-year deal worth $130 million. Let's go back to Fred VanVleet. He just made history. Did you know? He just signed the largest contract for a non-drafted player. That should be motivation for all athletes out here to trust the process, trust your journey. Even if your sports career isn't going out the way that you planned, hang in there a little bit longer, because I'm sure Fred VanVleet maybe wanted to quit when everything happened and, he didn't get drafted, but he didn't. He trusted the process, and now he just signed the largest contract for an undrafted player at $130 million. So shout out to all of those players that signed those big contracts during free agency. Shout out to Rich Paul. Sir, you out here doing your thing. Now let's get into the biggest news of free agency, Dame Lillard. I never thought that I would see this day come, guys. I just never thought. Dame Lillard has requested a trade from the Blazers. Honestly, I'm shocked. Past seasons, Dame Lillard has always said, I'm not leaving. I'm not, one of those players when stuff goes wrong. I'm not finna go bandwagon and go join a winning team. I want to work hard for it. I'm going to stay with the Blazers, and I'm just going to get it done this way because it's going to feel that much more sweeter. Essentially, that's what he said for past seasons every time anything trade related came up. Now Dame is saying, nope, it's time to go. I want to go to the Heat. That's what they say. Now, if I'm a Blazers fan, I'm a little upset because you've been telling me for seasons that you're not going to leave. But if I'm Dame and I'm thinking a bit more rational, y'all ain't been giving me no help. I've been trying to stay. I want to win a ring. Like, honestly, what more can I really do? I tried to stay as long as I can. As long as I can. And the man is not wrong. Y'all should have been got the man some help. This is like Aaron Rodgers. For seasons, he kept saying, give me some help. You didn't, so now he's going to the Jets, and Packers fans are upset. So now Dame, for seasons, he's been saying, give me some help. Y'all have it, so now he want to get traded. Y'all better not be burning his jersey. That's not cool. Don't do y'all like y'all did, what's his name, LeBron. That's not okay. Something else, free agency, as a Bulls used to be fan, because now like the Bulls not really been it the past couple seasons. As a used to be Bulls fan, as a Chicagoan, Derrick Rose has signed with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now maybe you like, so what? I didn't even know that Derrick Rose even still hoop Derrick Rose and crack all your knee jokes. Maybe you saying that. But if you me and you know Derrick Rose history, this is very nostalgic. Did y'all know that Derrick Rose played college at the University of Memphis for a year before he got drafted by the Bulls? So now he's going to play for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's going to wear number 23. I just love how sometimes stuff just comes full circle, and I wonder for him if it was like a full circle moment. If he retired after this, it would just make sense. It's just because it just sounds so nice. I went to college in Memphis 4 year before I got drafted to the Bulls, #1 pick, and now I'm going to play for the Memphis Grizzlies. Wow. Now let's get into all of these massive layoffs that's been going on. It is being reported at ESPN that almost 20 commentators were laid off. Now, when I saw the news of these big names, honestly, I thought that it was fake news. I said, ain't no way Max Kellerman done lost his job. Ain't no way Jalen Rose just got laid off. And then it turned out to be really true. Among the big names that got laid off from ESPN are Jalen Rose, Max Kellerman, Jeff Van Gundy, and Susie Colbert. Now, there is some speculation that all of this is happening, that these big, massive layoffs are happening at ESPN with these big names because of some new deals that ESPN has been signing. Some like the one that they just did with Pat McAfee, who when he left FanDuel and he signed his big contract with ESPN. Some people are speculating that they have to lay off these other names so that they can pay for Pat McAfee. And a big name like that, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. You just gotta cut costs. That's just how the business works. Susie Colbert got laid off. She was an NFL reporter and the host of pregame show Monday Night Football. She was there for 27 years and she got laid off. Jeff Van Gundy. This caught me off guard. My mother, who knows nothing about sports, not Jeff. He got laid off. He worked at ESPN since 2007. That's a long time. Also, Jalen Rose. He was a studio analyst. I've only ever known him at ESPN, like on game days. I turn it on just knowing that I'm going to see Jalen Rose. Now there's no more Jalen Rose. What really struck me about all of this is these people are older people who have been working at this company for years. So at this age in life, they're going to be forced to pivot and do something else. That's why that was the word of the day. It's all about pivoting now, going back to Shannon Sharp when he left Skip's show. And I said, I wonder if Shannon knew this was happening. This is why he started getting his podcast rolling with those big interviews and all of that. So I hope that these other people had other stuff set up, multiple streams of income. That's why that's key, because when something goes left with one, you always know you can go right with the other. Stephen A. Smith even talked about these layoffs. Now, of all people, I would think that Stephen A. Smith is very locked down at ESPN, but apparently not. Stephen A. Smith spoke about these layoffs and he said, this isn't the end, more is coming. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I could be next. That's what he said on his show. That shocked me. I would never think that Stephen A. Smith, of all people, would feel like he was in jeopardy. Like, I've only ever known him with ESPN. I think that he's probably one of the most popular faces of ESPN. So if they let him go, I think that would just be a big, big mistake on their part. Talking more about exits and big mistakes, because I think that ESPN, that's going to be a big mistake, because I think that really what they're going to do is that other up-and-coming sports platforms, maybe like FanDuel or FS1, are going to sign on the personalities that got let go. So ESPN is just now helping these other platforms build their roster. So that's why I think that it's going to be a big mistake. Now let's talk about entertainment. It's been some layoffs or some step downs in entertainment. And I didn't know anything about any of this until I was scrolling on Twitter and I seen this post that was like, it was a screenshot, it was a collage of 4 different articles showing Black women, seemingly they were all Black women that were all either laid off or stepped down from their position, and they all had roles in diversity in the entertainment field. So I just want to read off a couple of the people that were laid off. Disney's chief diversity officer and senior president is exiting her role after more than 6 years. Got Disney. Next up, Netflix head of inclusion strategy is stepping down at the end of September. Notably, something to note, this lady was the first person to ever serve in this role. She served since 2018. Warner Bros. Is laying off a diversity, equity, and inclusion executive. So we got Disney, Netflix, and Warner Bros. Lastly, Executive Vice President of Impact and Inclusion at the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences is exiting her role. She's just got into this role. She's had this role since July of 2022. Now, all of these, like I said, going back, these were all Black women. When I seen the screenshot, I just stood up because it was Black women all there, and they were all leaving their roles. I'm just going to say leaving, because some were laid off, some stepped down, some exited. That's how they were phrased differently. And they all had an overall inclusion position. I think that's very interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do. On the last episode, I talked about how in Texas, a diversity bill was signed where colleges, state-funded colleges, cannot have DEI offices there. And if they do, that they won't get their funding. Also talked about how University in Arkansas just closed their DEI office. So I wonder if any of these things are related. I urge you to go do your research and learn more about that. Keeping with entertainment, did y'all know, maybe it's just me, it could be just me, I did not know that the Griot had a channel, just like regular, like flip through your cable and you can just pop up on a channel. I could just be misinformed, maybe y'all already knew that. One day I was sitting home and I think I was in the 200s and I was just flipping and the Griot popped up and I clicked on it, the Griot owned by Byron Allen. I clicked on it and it played. And the day that I caught it, through, I believe, HBCU Go, they were playing HBCU basketball. So it was really cool being able to see HBCU basketball teams live action, like the games were live, and it was actually some pretty decent games. So I urge you, I have Xfinity. If you have Xfinity, flip through your channels, it may be in the 200, 300s, and see if you have the Griot. And if you do, support Black media. If you've learned nothing else, not sometimes, it's definitely hard out here. Not sometimes, it's hard out here right now. There's a lot of shutdowns and layoffs that's happening. Before, I was telling you about the mass layoffs, which is like Burger King and Bed Bath & Beyond. Now it seems like it's hitting the media, the entertainment industry. So support Black companies or Black media, like the Griot, or Roland Martin. Support Black media is very important. Ownership is key. In keeping with Black media, I also want to talk about something that I forgot to talk about on past episodes, and that's SWATs. This is something that I had never heard happen before, but I'm sure that it's probably happened. A show that I like called SWAT is Shamar Moore. First, the show was canceled. Now, I was surprised because I watched SWAT, thought that it was a pretty popular show. I didn't think that it was in jeopardy, but apparently it was because it was canceled. I was blue and Shamar Moore was blue. When he got the news, he got on Instagram. He said a couple things like this was an effing mistake, that the show was canceled. He also went on to say that this show shouldn't be canceled because it has the most diverse cast. Like no other show has a cast just with different races and nationalities of people. And he also said that he was the only African-American man. He was the only African-American male lead on network television with SWAT. So after he came out and said that he didn't agree with the choice to cancel it, also fans of the show came out and said that they didn't think that it was okay that the show was canceled. The choice was reversed. It was reverse cancel. Instead of it being canceled, they decided they're going to bring it back. So a joint statement from the president of CBS Entertainment and the president of Sony Pictures Television Studios said, "We have listened to our viewers in their outpouring of passion for SWAT, and we have reached an agreement to renew it for a final season of 13 episodes." So they listened. I've never really heard that before because I know about a lot of popular shows that were canceled and fans came out and said, even actors on the show came out and said it shouldn't be canceled, bring it back, and the show was still canceled. But SWAT, people at CBS said, "No, okay, y'all been talking about it. Let's go ahead, y'all can have it back." I thought that was pretty cool. So now please go and watch SWAT. Please stream it. Go watch it now. I think that it's on Hulu and Netflix. Go check it out. Now, let's get into another episode of another edition, rather, of Elon Musk ruining Twitter. There's been a lot of discourse on Twitter and other social media apps about social media apps. Let me catch you up on what's happening. Elon Musk tweeted a couple days ago that he was going to be limiting tweets. He tweeted, "Unverified users could only read 1,000 tweets a day, and verified users could read 10,000 tweets a day." After this happened, after he tweeted that, people just started noticing that they started hitting their tweet limit. It just started popping up on their page. So I think that this really made people realize that Elon just really done messed up Twitter, and just all the other things that I talked about on previous episodes about him just messing it up, one of the best apps. He just ruined it. I started seeing people saying, "Okay, it's about that time. Twitter is officially over with. Let's start heading to these other apps." So then I started hearing about apps like Spill and Thread, and then people were saying, "Okay, join those apps. This is my profile. Go and follow me." And then I started seeing some discourse about one of the apps in particular called Spill. I urge you to do your research because I'm not a tech person. When I was trying to understand exactly why Elon would even limit the tweets, it was getting real techie. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to leave this alone. And the same thing with the Spill, it's real techie. So the people that know tech, in the comments, explain to me what's going on, and I will definitely read and come back and give the update on what I understood. Now let's get into all the things that had me like WTF, because it's been quite a few things. It was the 4th of July this weekend, so people was outside. It was nice weather. People had a lot of activities. So a couple of my WTF things are based around that. The first thing, now I don't know why this wasn't breaking news all over every single news channel, Earth hit its hottest day on record in the history of the whole Earth. We had the hottest day on July 3rd. It is said that the average temperature for the world, for the whole world, was 62.6 degrees Fahrenheit, making it the hottest day on record for planet Earth. All y'all that keep saying global warming, climate change is not real, I don't know how many more ways that, it's needed to be proven that clearly something is going on with the planet, with the environment. Like, seriously, the hottest day, I'm starting to be a bit concerned. More things relating to the 4th of July, what I see that was going on with the 4th of July. Quite a few people in their 4th festivities went to like amusement parks and got on roller coasters. There was 2 different incidents that I've seen about roller coasters, making me say I'm not getting on a roller coaster anytime soon. The first one, 8 passengers were left suspended upside down for hours on a roller coaster after a mechanical error stalled the ride. Emergency crews had to come and get the people down. It took 2 to 3 hours. The people were just hanging upside down for hours. That's not safe, for one, and that's completely traumatizing. I'll be filing an immediate lawsuit for emotional distress. I hope some people did not sign a waiver, because I'm getting me some coin if that's me. Something else that had me like WTF, and I think I lost it, but I remember it because I went to this park. This what made it stand out to me. And I went to school at college in North Carolina. So anything North Carolina just stays in my head. In Charlotte, I think that it was at Carowinds. A father was just at a park watching a roller coaster go past, just watching it go through, and he noticed a crack in the roller coaster. So he recorded a video. Then once the cart with the people on it went speeding past the crack, the whole crack like shifted the whole ride. Because of that, the ride was shut down. How did a regular spectator notice something that a park manager didn't notice? Why did it take a father noticing it for y'all to see that it's a problem? Well, good thing that he did, because if he didn't, that could have gone tragically wrong. And it wasn't no little crack. It was a major crack where when the ride went past fast, the whole crack shifted and the whole ride like shifted. WTF is going on, and I won't be getting on a roller coaster anytime soon. Something else that had me like WTF, and I'm going to have to research this some more because this may be the most bizarre thing that I've ever heard about in my life. 4 volunteers have been locked in a Mars simulation by NASA for a year and 13 days. The whole point of the mission is just for people to get a real life experience and just get a sense of what life is on Mars. It is beyond me that 4 people would even sign up for such a thing. 4 people signed up for it, not just that, and they've been stuck in the simulation for a year and 13 days. I'm going to need an update on this, because when they get home, I need to know, how are you feeling? What was it like just being stuck somewhere for a year and 13 days? And they tried to make it seem like Mars. And I thought that Mars was like poisonous or something. Something else that had me like WTF, going back to tech, I did my best to try to understand what was going on, but I'm not sure if I got it completely correct. But what I can understand is that Google is not playing with Canada. Google says, stop playing with me. Google has announced that they are going to block access to Canadian news for anyone living in Canada. What the article said is that for users in Canada, Google will take away any Canadian news from its search engine. So if you're in Canada, you cannot get any of your news from Google. All of this is happening because of a new law that was passed in Canada called the Online News Act. Now go do your research and learn more about it. But the key part of this that I want to say is that the reason why this law was even passed is because Canada is saying that Google is dominating the digital advertising market. They say in 2022, platforms like Google and Meta, they took in more than 80% of Canada's online advertising revenue. So with this new law for big tech platforms like Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Google, for them to publish and share preview content on their platforms, they have to go through Canada through this whole new process. Google does not want to follow that process. They're not with it. So they said, okay, we're just going to limit the news. So we're going to take away all Canada news from our search engine. It's like big corporations doing like big money things. I didn't even know that was even possible for Canada to even say that you're going to have to drive all of your content through us. And I didn't know that Google could just take off the whole Canada news from their search engine. Like, y'all just not even going to exist on the Google search engine. Wow. Few last things that had me like WTF. A radio personality is speaking out about her experience at an Atlanta restaurant where she ordered something. Is at Woody's Cheesesteaks in Buckhead. She ordered something and she looked at her receipt and it said darky. Of course, she's a Black woman and her receipt said darky. Excuse me? Excuse me? Yeah, I'm going to be owning Woody's. I'm going to be owning it. This is just like the lady who went to Starbucks and she was the only Black one in the Starbucks, and her receipt said monkey. Okay. Something else that had me like WTF. A Walmart in Rhode Island is facing backlash. Now I seen this picture and I said, WTF, whose idea was this? Their bright idea for a fundraiser to raise money for children was to lock a Black employee in a makeshift cage. This is what a sign said. I'm in jail. I need bail. Help me raise $50 to get out. Again, excuse me, WTF. Of course, first, why was this done at all? And why did it have to be a Black employee that got locked in the cage? Y'all didn't have anyone white on staff that wanted to volunteer? Okay. That wraps up all the things I had with WTF for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a blast. Make sure that you go catch up on past Heavy Talk episodes and listen to Heavy Talk exclusively on Patreon for all heavy vibes. Go catch up on past Heavy Talks radio shows. If you didn't know, yes, I did have a radio show. So go catch up on past radio shows and just see what the vibe was. Go nominate your favorite Black business for the Black Business Scholarship presented by the Black Dot Blog. Support Black businesses, support businesses. It is free $99. I will catch you here for more Straight Talk with No Chaser next week. Same place, same time. I'm Heavy and I'm out.